It is time to start viewbotting. Boy oh boy, so many allegations about viewbotting. Oh, this is the loser's topic. Nobody's really viewbotting. Everybody knows me. Apparently everybody's actually viewbotting. I'm not saying they're viewbotting 100% of the viewers, that doesn't make any sense. But it's clear that it's happening. And this guy, Reed JD, the CEO of Night Media, which, if I'm not mistaken, Night Media is the company, I guess? Talent agency, I think is more correct. That has Asmongold? Sounds correct. I think I read a little bit about them at some point. So, what does this guy have to say about viewbotting? It's time to start viewbotting, baby. What does it do to get through all the noise on the internet? If everyone else is botting, why shouldn't you? If everybody jumps from the bridge, why shouldn't you? We are still living in a world where you make great content, algorithms will find an audience for your videos. This line says more about the algorithms themselves than the content. I understand there's a lot of competition, but we just talked about YouTube being absolute jank. I don't need to repeat myself, but I could. Now creators have to clip farm, pay clippers, and sometimes even viewbot to have a better chance of capturing more attention and breaking through the noise. Especially true on platforms like Twitch, where viewbotting can surface you on the front page of popular streaming categories. They also say a lot about Twitch. Twitch is ass. You're a small streamer? Yeah, you will always be a small streamer, probably, if you cannot create content elsewhere. Because Twitch by itself, yeah, it just doesn't work. You're not gonna get shown to anybody. You're gonna be in the depths of hell, because you don't have enough people. So you're not in the higher rows of categories or recommendations. Hey, it's this guy.
I call viewbotting the loser's topic.
How curious. When this guy also has very serious and very plausible viewbotting accusations. Thankfully, if you reach the top leaderboards on Twitch and have amassed a large audience, you probably don't need to viewbot. It's also kinda funny how this guy says this when constantly we see nobodies. Wow, this huge Twitch streamer. Who? Who is this guy or gal? Where did they come from? How did it become huge in like 3 months? This is not a job about the peanuts. It's just about other fleshes. And you would watch the content and it's just so painfully boring. Oh my god. Are you really gonna tell me you have tens of thousands of people watching this? It's as interesting as watching paint dry in some cases. So I think it's clear that some of these rising stars are very obviously industry plants. However, there has been a lot of drama on X recently related to the largest streamers on Twitch and allegedly viewbotting. There's also been some stuff with Asmongold. Apparently they're viewbotting him against his wishes. He had more than 100,000 CCV at some point. And he was calling them out. Of course he would. He wouldn't want to get banned. Even though these rules are not really enforced, but better play it safe. Asmongold doesn't need viewbotting. Not to that degree. The guy's already big. This got me thinking. Is viewbotting a legitimate strategy? Do advertisers have any way of tracking botted engagement? And why isn't Twitch cracking down on this at all? Before reading this, because this is actually my first read of this, I'm gonna tell you something. It's a legitimate strategy. It's literal fraud. And why isn't Twitch cracking down on this at all? Because money. Whoa! That does have any way of tracking botted engagement? Maybe, maybe not. I think there are some tools, but they're kinda jank. And it's more likely that you get caught as a bot by just being a lurker, which is pretty bad. Platforms need to take action. We've been dealing with this issue for a long time now. And I remember reading the article from Rolling Stone where up to 13% of the movement behind the release of the Snyder Cut campaign came from botted accounts. Despite being 13% of the movement, they accounted for 50% of the engagement. What did I mean by this? Rolling Stones, I don't think you can mention those stats. Nicki Minaj has also come under fire lately for botting. On platforms like X, bots tend to leave behind little evidence, no followers, a newly created account, or suspicious comment behavior. That can be used to identify whether the account is real or not. You will also see accounts with the blue checkmark spamming comments They are trying to get that delicious revenue. It's really useful for people who live in countries with bad economies, I suppose. However, this isn't the case with Twitch. Instead of jumping from 3,000 viewers to 50,000 in a matter of minutes, there really isn't a clear way to tell who is botting and who isn't. The only evidence we get as viewers is the live viewer count and the speed of messages in chat. This is actually a really good metric, by the way. You might see really strange jumps in live viewer counts, but they're kind of organic because of ads. I've seen somebody having like 12, 30, maybe 1400 CCB, and then you get an ad break and it goes to like 8 or 900, and then just goes back up again. However, chat activity is a really good metric here. I've seen people having about 100, 200, maybe 300 CCB. In those ranges, having chats being way more active than some people with 10,000 or more CCB, which doesn't make any sense. Sure, if you have a lot of people watching, you'll have a lot of lurkers. Are you gonna tell me you don't have at least 100 active chatters? That sounds really weird. I guess it depends on the content, but that is really strange. Twitch has been dealing with this for years now, but from Devin Nash sums it up well. And he even goes on to say that there is no real downside to botting your stream if you're in top 500 creators. Despite it being a crime, I'm pretty sure, because it's fraud, and this is about advertisers. You will get paid based on the amount of the average CCB you have, and in regards of the amount of time streamed. So, if you normally would have, let's say, I'm just making numbers, 1,000 CCB, but suddenly you bought yourself to 3,000, 2/3 of that is actual fraud. 2/3 of the money you're getting you shouldn't be getting, because that advertising is not going to real people that can actually buy the product. This becomes even more stupid when you understand and realize that some of these companies that work for you with this other stuff when you're promoting the game and whatnot actually viewbot you to make the game more appealing or the product more appealing, so more people click on the ad itself, the ad being the stream. It's just really weird. I don't know how to explain this properly. It's really convoluted. Everybody's saying on the viewbotting. It's just an abject disaster. Back in August of last year, with the sick crackdown on bots, and how the trend continues for the foreseeable future. Clearly this is happening again, and bots are finding ways to go undetected. It's kinda getting worse with AI, because they can, I don't want to say emulate active chatters, but they can to some extent. You have, we've seen these accusations before, of strange chatters coming in, copy and pasting all their messages from chat, and suddenly nothing makes any sense. Because if you said something 15 minutes ago, well, we jump to a different topic or something different is happening on the screen. As long as it works for them, they will keep doing it. My belief, echoed by XUC, is that they don't care to enforce this. The more views there are, the better things look for advertisers. This was what I said before. They will not enforce this because money. That's it. If everyone else is doing it, should you? Well, it depends. Do you have morals? Or do you only care about money? That's pretty much the same question. I will never explicitly say you should bot your views on Twitch, even though you are kinda implying this. Other than the title of this article, but the reality is, if you're not viewbotting and everyone else is, you're at a disadvantage. When you're competing in category where you're peered, if you don't have 500 plus viewers, maybe shifting your strategy to paying clippers and buying bots helps a streamer break through. It's... I don't think this is a great example. Everybody's cheating, so why shouldn't I? Well, I don't know, man. I do have some sort of morality, even though you might not believe me. I think viewbotting is wrong, and I don't think that's the way to actually try to grow yourself. But then again, what do I know? If it works, I guess. But yeah, as long as something works, the people will do that. Or as long as something looks like it works, people will do that. Also, you don't need to play clippers, you can clip yourself. Whoa, life hack. I know it takes time, but still. And to see what it will cost to buy a stream, and for $180 a week on Viewbotter, I can get 1,500 followers, 225 chatters, and 750 concurrent viewers. Not bad for less than 800 a month. And this company accepts crypto payments. Yeah, I don't think that's a really appealing argument. If you want to do things right. But then again, people are just here for the money, I guess. And I get it, you can get a lot of money. It makes sense. Have you seen the bigger streamers? Yeah, they make a lot of money. So it's really attractive. It's always the same, right? Ah, does power corrupt? It can corrupt, but it's more than power attracts people with no morals and people that want to use said power. So in this case, maybe not power itself, though you have influence, obviously. But yeah, being able to make a lot of money is going to attract really greedy people with no morals. What a shocker. Is there any way to detect viewbotting? From what I've researched about detecting viewbotting, even Clancy, the Twitch CEO, has mentioned that detecting bots is a cat and mouse game. When allegations start surfacing online, streamers are left to state their case and prove that their audience is real. It's kind of a problem because you don't actually punish the viewbotters. If you actually did, less people would be bought because you would have actual consequences for your negative actions. Negative actions should have negative consequences. In this case, negative actions only have positive consequences because you don't apply rules evenly, or sometimes you don't even apply rules because it's Twitch after all. So, why do you expect things to change? They won't. And if they don't punish viewbotting, it's actually an indictment of viewbotting. I mean, it's more money after all. And for brands, is there any way to tell if a streamer or someone else is spotting their viewership? I couldn't find anything legitimate that I would trust. There currently isn't a website out there that can credibly detect bots on Twitch. There are some that work decently. They can give you a pretty good idea of how much is being bottled. They are not perfect, but it's better than nothing. Someone build this and email it to me. Wouldn't this be kinda easy to detect with IP ranges, actually, now that I think about it? Maybe not. Maybe not. That kind of server connectivity stuff is not my forte. So maybe taking out of my ass wouldn't be the first time. The big takeaway. We've entered an era where good content alone isn't enough. Distribution tactics are, when clipping, paid amplification, and even bots can artificially push you up the rankings, the playing field starts to tilt toward whoever's willing to game it. Visual detection tools feel reactive at best, and advertisers don't seem to have a reliable way to verify what's real. But it becomes normalized. By your own admission, it is normalized. Creators face a brutal question: compete clean on risk invisibility, or bend the rules to survive. Long term, though, this erodes trust in the entire ecosystem. I mean, I'm seeing your average big content creator. I wouldn't have any sort of trust in most of them at least. That doesn't make any sense to me. Let's see. Oh, from stream charts. At the end of last year, we published our 60-page white paper on viewbotting topic, which includes a number of proven methods for identifying the problem. Take it right here. I'll be happy to chat and help to understand how you can detect suspicious activity. Is this an actual bot? It could be. It gives you numbers but doesn't give you support at all. Yeah, but numbers in itself is actually a useful metric. Streaming version of Tears through their arm baseball. It's not the first 2DC mentioning this, but I think it's true. Because having accomplished my goals is more important than hitting those goals. I had to pay for fans of my work. I think that's fair. It also doesn't help that a lot of these platforms have way less skilled people working on them, so even if they try to actually crack down on true viewbotting, I don't think they could actually do it, because they don't have people that can actually try and attempt to do it. So it's just a disaster no matter how you look at it. I also have here Rossi Belmo mentioning her gripes with this situation. I'm avoiding gripes every time with this conversation. Streamers do it, advertisers do it through streamers. This just does it for advertisers. No one is a victim in the scenario. What is making them do this? The viewer, sheeple! Let me explain. That's kind of what I mentioned before. It's just a really stupid thing to do in general. You just couldn't fake engagement. All of this, there's 3 here. Create fake engagement. But there's engagement nonetheless, so you can game the system. So that's why people do it. Should people do it? No, it's morally incorrect. And to some extent, some cases, is actual fraud. And I think that I do believe that's illegal. Guess might depend on the location. Just find the game looks more important when even legitimate high viewership is boosted. Maybe a very big streamer has 2,000 viewers, but 4,000 viewers looks bigger. Bigger numbers good, it's just many numbers looking in. Hey, it's me complaining about the numbers again. Imagine that keeps happening. This sponsor gets more sales when more people feel the FOMO of many people playing the game. Maybe time bots, but there's more legitimate people playing the game. Think if you haven't inflated the viewership number. Twitch! They now look like they have more average viewers using the platform. Twitch has separate view count it uses for paid sponsors, so they don't pay for bots. So they're directly lying to you, which is pretty funny. Oh, of course they would, of course. Lying to you, they can do it. Lying to advertisers, well, that's a big problem, right? We wouldn't want to get into legal trouble. More, at least. Want to know when they keep pulling back on redefining viewership? Because it makes the title look dead. And it kinda does. Because it can be a little bit real. There's no way some of these streamers have tens or even hundreds of thousands of viewers at the same time when the chat's really moving. We've seen several cases of this. So they need to at least look the part, at least some part of it. You wouldn't want the rivals like Kick or maybe even Rumble coming at your door and eating your ass. Non-consensually. That could be pretty bad for you. Doesn't shows how little legitimate people aren't glued to the screen and just lurking for going to see an ad passing by or interact with it. I guess this also kind of explains the current situation with the Twitch ads they want to implement. You have to be tempting, and you cannot have the stream paused, and you cannot have the stream muted. You will watch the ad, and you will be happy, because it makes us money. Will the streamers get that money? Yeah, sure thing, pal. That looks well. Let's make the ad look more live to the viewer and advertisers. Streamers, well, they can't prevent if a sponsor or Twitch puts them in game they're playing, as I already mentioned with the Atmon situation, which can be weaponized. I guess that's why they don't really enforce viewbotting, right? Because it can be weaponized against other streamers, which was kind of what happened to the guy, I assume. But then again, if nobody is getting punished, is it really a crime? I guess not. It only benefits them in the category potentially. Probably not much since there is discoverability on Twitch. I said this was a single word. I guess both can be true at the same time. But the viewer, again, may think they're more worth watching or listening to because big number. Especially if there are chatbots. Not the viewers in the cool club with the biggest streamer on the Junior Speak game everyone's watching. So why do they all do this? The viewer sees more value with these fake numbers in place, for the site as a whole and the games and people they watch. If the viewers didn't have such a cheap mindset, then generally this may not benefit them to do. No one points this out. I find it frustrating, maybe it enlightens someone. I guess this is true, but only to some extent. Sure, getting more eyes on a product, in this case a game, makes sense, it's advertising of course. The product appear to be better. Of course, we will try to boost sales, but sometimes you will have people like Asmongold himself, a very big streamer, also known for playing games, not just for talking about current events. And the guy will play a new game, and the game can be just bad enough that even being shown by Asmongold is not enough to save it. But I guess I understand the strategy. It's just that you need something else, you need something more. Just the ads are clearly not enough. There wasn't the ship mentality benefit, even having an IMO. It's all making things look cooler than they are, and it still is profitable for everyone involved. Yeah, I can see it. And, of course, I would say the main culprit of all of this would be Twitch themselves, because of the platform. Not only they allow it, they also do it to some regards. Right? When you tell me they have a separate view account used for paid sponsors, they are clearly in on the viewbotting, and they don't care. They actually allow it. So this is just a disaster. So every time they tell you, viewbotting, the loser's topic, well, it really isn't. It's a very big problem. And then after that they will move on, well, it's happening, but it's good. What's wrong? Are you too poor to pay for bots? And gotta be real, don't think content creation should be a pay-to-win endeavor. I understand that having resources always helps, but this is, as we've seen here with this metrics, quite literally a pay-to-win endeavor. So I will always appreciate people that want quality over quantity and want to make things right. Maybe that's a bit of a cope. But I want to think I have a little bit of morality still in me. Unlike other people